A little girl's warning the Wexford estate loomed like a monument to success. Marble pillars, gold-trimmed hallways, and chandeliers that caught every glint of sunlight. Inside, Jonathan Wexford, a 40-year-old self-made millionaire, adjusted his navy blue tie in the mirror. He looked the part, refined, composed, successful. Behind him, his wife, Isabel, glided by in a cream silk dress, sipping orange juice from a crystal flute. "Don't be late for the board meeting," she said with a teasing smile. "You know they fall apart without you." Jonathan chuckled, but his gaze lingered. Her tone had changed lately, distant, distracted. The way she turned away when her phone rang. Something about it all fell off. Still, he brushed it aside, picked up his briefcase, and stepped toward the side entrance where his chauffeur waited. But he stopped cold. Just outside, in the shadow of the grand columns, stood a small figure. A little black girl, no more than 6, in a faded gray dress and tattered apron. Her bare feet were dusty, a cloth wrapped around her braids. She held a dented metal bucket, not begging, not stealing, just holding it, like it meant something. The housekeeper appeared beside him. "She shows up now and then," she whispered. Quiet, probably just hungry. But the girl wasn't looking at the housekeeper. Her eyes were locked on Jonathan. He stepped outside and crouched down. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Mira. Do you need food?" She shook her head. Then she leaned in, voice small but clear. "I came to tell you something." Jonathan tilted his head, curious. "What is it?" She looked behind her, then whispered, "Your wife is lying to you." Jonathan blinked. "Excuse me. I sleep behind the garden wall sometimes. Last night I saw her. Through the window. She was with a man. Not you." They laughed, whispered. She said, "You be gone soon." She said she was almost free. The morning sun warmed the stones, but Jonathan felt chilled to the bone. He searched the girl's eyes for deceit, for mischief, but all he saw was truth and a sadness far too deep for her age. Inside, Isabel's laughter rang out as she walked past the butler on another cheerful phone call. Jonathan turned back to Mira. "Why tell me this?" "Because no one listens to girls like me," she said. "But I see everything." And with that, she gave a small nod, turned, and walked barefoot down the stone path, her bucket clinking softly behind her. Jonathan stood still. No proof, no motive, just a child in rags, telling the truth. That night, he couldn't sleep. Isabel brushed her hair by the vanity, glowing in the soft light. She looked perfect, but now, all he could hear were Mira's words. She said she was almost free. The next morning, Jonathan skipped the boardroom. He sat in his study and pulled up the estate's private surveillance archives. Footage he'd never looked at in years. He found the garden wing. Late hours, the northeast corridor. And there she was, Isabel, in a silk robe, slipping down the hallway at 1:47 a.m. A man followed. Jonathan leaned closer. Edward Crane, his business partner. They moved into the solarium. No lights, no words, but their body language said everything. Then, caught clearly on audio, "He's almost done. He's moving money to the Zurich account. Soon we won't need him at all." Jonathan's hands trembled. It wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated theft. The rest of the day passed in a blur. He canceled meetings, froze accounts, called lawyers. His IT team backed up every file, traced every forgery. By nightfall, he had the truth. She would have succeeded, if not for Mira. That evening, Isabel returned from lunch to find Jonathan waiting at the front door, holding a folder. He didn't shout, just handed it to her. "It's over," he said calmly. "The accounts are locked. The board knows. The prenup stands." She opened her mouth, stunned. "You lied," he continued. "And a little girl with nothing saw what I refused to." By morning, Isabel was gone, her name erased from every document, her belongings removed from the estate. But Jonathan's thoughts weren't on the money. They were on Mira. He called shelters, searched alleyways, asked shopkeepers. Days later, they found her behind a bakery, curled up in cardboard, her metal bucket by her side. The black car pulled up. Mira looked up, confused. Jonathan stepped out, not in a suit, but in a sweatshirt and jeans. He knelt beside her. "I Tawai, you saved me," he said. She didn't speak. So he reached in his pocket and held out a small gold necklace. One word engraved. Seemed he placed it around her neck. "You're coming with me now, if you want to." Mira hesitated, then took his hand. Months passed. Mira moved into the guest wing. But Jonathan quickly realized she didn't need a room. She needed a home, and he gave her one. A warm bed, her own clothes, tutors, doctors, a birthday cake with her name on it. And most of all, he listened. She loved stars, knew every planet. She drew suns with smiling faces. She hated shoes, loved lemons. And for the first time in her life, she wasn't invisible that a year later, the adoption papers were signed. Mira Wexford at the garden celebration. Guests toasted the girl who saved a man from losing everything. Jonathan raised his glass. "The world saw her as small," he said, "but she saw what no one else did. She gave me the truth, and I will spend the rest of my life giving her back everything she was denied."